Fabulous. Okay. We are about to go live here on Facebook. Welcome, everyone. I'm here today with Roger Burnley, who is an intuitive empowerment and voice coach based in Los Angeles. Welcome, Roger. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yes, yay! We're so excited for the Voice and Song Summit coming up on the 14th and 15th of May. And you're one of the people that helped to really inspire me to start this, because when I started to meet other voice experts that were doing such similar work to me, and you're one of the first people that, you know, we're kind of like, oh my God, we're like soulmates almost, you know what I mean? We're like got this mission to let people know that their voices have value, and that singing is a way for you to kind of connect with the value of your own voice and connect with your message for the world, and start living in an empowered way.
That's why it was so funny to see when I saw the name of your your group and all of that. I thought, oh, somebody else who knows that confidence can come out of this. And this is what I wanted to talk about, because this is such a great story, and I always want people to understand this. When I was 12 years old, sometimes things happen to us when we're younger and we don't understand it. We may have been traumatized for whatever reason, and some of those things stay with us. Yeah. But if we understand and use it, maybe think, wait a minute, maybe I had this for a reason. Maybe something's going on. When I was 12, I didn't know that I wanted to sing. I didn't have any dreams or ideas like as a young kid. I didn't think of that, you know. Mm-hmm. But then a choir director came to our grade school, because they wanted to get us ready for high school. That's how it worked here. You know, we would, at the 8th grade, we would graduate and then go to high school. So it was a definite move, you know, secondary school. Yeah. And this coach, he came in and he was auditioning people, I thought, and my brain said, he told me that my voice wasn't right, and that it was too high, or it wouldn't work, or something like that. And I was destroyed. But even though I didn't want to sing, I didn't think that was my thing, but some people told me, maybe you should go do this. It stayed with me forever. So then I went to high school. But when I went to high school, they're saying now, no, we want you in the choir. I go, that doesn't make any sense. You told me I was terrible before. At least that's what my brain is telling me. At least that's what I was holding on to. Yeah. He says, no, I want you to come in here. I will tell you, this coach pushed me so much because I was still so scared. My old programming said, no, I'm terrible. I can't do anything. And I had to work through that. And I couldn't reconcile how the person who told me I was terrible is now telling me that I'm good. I never figured it out, but maybe I didn't even remember it correctly. We don't know. But the fact was, he kept pushing me. And this is the value of having coaches, because I would not have done anything. He moved me into the next year. I was a freshman, but he moved me into the junior a cappella choir, which typically that doesn't happen until you're in earlier on. I'm going, why are you doing this? Then he nominated me for the all-city choir, which means that everybody from all of the schools in this entire city of Chicago would go. I go, I can't do that. Now, Aideen, to make it worse, I got in the choir. They wanted me, but I still said, I can't. The rehearsals were early Saturday mornings. I would oversleep. I wouldn't get up. My mother would have to come and wake me up to get me there because I was so terrified.
It's so interesting, Roger, because, you know, I was 28 when someone asked me what was my dream. And I said, well, I want to be a singer, but I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying is so similar, that your brain was saying, I'm not a singer. Why would I be in the choir? Why would they want me for that? So it's almost like it's a part of you, but it's like you haven't fully...
Yes.
I don't know. You're not able to process that that's a part of you.
I've come to understand it now. We all probably have, because we understand how our brains work, and we understand cognitive dissonance, meaning that somebody can tell us something, but we can't hear it. We can't believe it because we've already programmed ourselves into something else, into believing something else, you know?
Yes.
And so that's why it was so great to see what you were doing, because my confidence, absolutely anything that I have, came through this journey of trying to of singing, of going through that and confronting my fears. That's because that's what I was doing the entire time, is confronting my fears. And so that's what makes it so fun to work with other people who are coming up. And my clients, when I was when I was coaching so much more and singing, they didn't understand why I was always saying to them, no, you can do it. You can do it. I just keep saying it all the time, even though they weren't experiencing it yet. I knew that their brains would start to accept it after they
Hmm.
saw a bit of the progress, But
Yes.
people need to understand that it just takes time. Sometimes this is part of our society too. We want instant results, and that's not going to necessarily happen either.
It's what I thought was interesting as well that we were both interested in was the science of singing and
Yes.
that idea. Because I studied psychology in Dublin and University College Dublin, and I've always had a big interest in how people think. I was interested in
Yes.
languages because of how
Yeah.
people think. But also when I started studying how good music and singing is for integrating both the left and right side of the brain and activating our
Mm,
brain differently, I found
right.
that so fascinating.
See,
And
I didn't know that. That's what I'm saying. I did. I had never. That's so great. I never knew that. I mean, before. So
yes,
yeah.
it's funny because you're experiencing this change in people and change in yourself because of the
Hmm.
singing, but you don't necessarily understand why that's happening. And
Right.
then now more research is coming to the fore to show why it's
Hmm.
happening. Because I think most people do understand that singing feels good. And
Yes.
many people
Exactly.
know that it's good for your health, maybe, good for your
Right.
lungs, good for your mental health, good for your mental health to be in a choir because of the
Yeah.
socializing.
Right.
But they don't always realize that you can change who you are in terms of how confident and how empowered, how much you
Right.
can be a success in your life and through
Yeah.
singing.
It's funny you mentioned that, because when was it? It was so many years ago. I had a lady come to me and she says, well, I'm here because my therapist wanted me to come. They felt that I had an emotional block and it was being caught in my singing. I never dealt with that. I didn't know. This was very early on I thought, really? And it worked. There was something, we worked, and she started getting better, and she was feeling much more of herself. And I had never known that. And it only happened because she told me that her therapist sent her. I didn't think of that before,
Yes.
but then I started to recognize, oh, wait a minute, that's everyone. Like you said, we get comfortable with ourselves. That's what happens.
Yes. The theme of our summit in May is to get unstuck in business using your
Yes,
voice.
yes.
How have you do you feel like that's true that you can get unstuck in business using
Oh,
your voice?
absolutely. Yes. Because okay, and I know that people thought maybe in the beginning that what my goal was to be a singer and go out and have that career and do all of that. But I wasn't pursuing it like some of the other folks were. I was completely fine being the coach. I would perform and all of that because I wanted to have that experience. I did all of that very early on. But later on, I thought, wait a minute, no, my more of what I'm doing is this business of coaching. And then I started an online business through it as well. But then I said, but there's more. And so I went to something else. It always led me to another business that I would not have pursued or even entertained had I still been my old fearful self, less confident me. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
happened. It led all sorts of other things. And I've seen that with many, many clients over the years. They come in and uh, they at first they think, well, I want to sing. And then I see them years later and they're doing something else entirely different, but I see them prospering. I see them like really owning themselves. So it was just, so at that point in their lives, the singing was like a training tool or something, to get them.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember having a 12-year-old that I worked with who had been singing really beautifully as a young child. And then because of bullying in school, she
Mm-hmm.
had started to close herself in. And she even stood like that,
Mm-hmm.
she was scared, to reveal herself. And the advice I gave her was that if you stand up to sing, you have to become the boss of that room. You're
Mm-hmm.
in charge
Yeah.
because everybody's watching you, looking at you. You have to believe that your 4 minutes or whatever it is of that song, that you deserve to be there. And there's
Mm-hmm.
value in people listening to you do that. And for me, I always try to explain to my students that the message of the song in itself had value. So even if you didn't feel like I have value as a singer, if you could
Right.
put your heart into the song and bring your message through,
Mm-hmm.
then there was almost like you were a little less self-conscious. And I think anybody working in business has to look at their business in that way. What is the value system within your business? What is important to you? The reason that you set it up, and that is worth speaking about. Even if you don't
Right.
feel like I have a lot to offer, or I have my voice is good, or I look good on camera, but you got to get your message out there, and
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
that really can help you to be more
Yeah.
confident when you start to connect with that message more.
You reminded me of another story. And this will be helpful for people because adolescence, when we're moving through that period, it's difficult for us at any time, anyone. But I remember this, and some people may come up with this. I had a kid that I was coaching. He started with me, I think he was about 10 when he first began. And he was brilliant. He was like boy soprano, and he could do all sorts of things. He was just wonderful. And we knew that was going to be his career. He was going to move into that. He'd done productions and all of that, but then his voice changed. And he was about 12, 13, and his family didn't know what to do because he was so depressed. And he just said, "What do we do?" I said, "It's fine, don't worry." I said, "Bring him in. I'm going to talk to him about it because he doesn't realize that he's already had such a foundation, and he just has to learn how to use his new voice in a new way. That's all that we have to get there." And some people don't go through that transition. You'll see this in kid stars who begin singing when they're young, and then nobody guides them through the transition that happens, you know.
Mm.
So it affects everyone differently. But for him, he was depressed. He didn't want to go to school, he didn't want to go to college, none of it. But it slowly but surely, we got him back, and we worked and he got in there, and now he went off and had a brilliant career at college, singing and doing shows and all kinds of stuff. So, but that, again, but it just shows that we get impacted emotionally at times in our lives, and working on singing can help us move through that. Just, getting in touch with who we are.
Definitely. And I think that, our experiences as children of being seen
Yeah,
are
yeah.
often linked to performance, or do you get the part, do you did people
Mhm,
clap when you sang, or even in church choirs and stuff like that, we get
mhm,
acknowledgement and recognition when we
mhm.
participate in these kind of performance activities. But if a teacher or someone close to us criticizes us at that time when we're
Right.
kids,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it kind of goes in.
Yes, it sits there. I mean, people don't understand how important that time of our lives, we're forming also. I was telling a story just the other day. This is a little off topic, but kind of the same. Um, I have four brothers, but for the longest time, there were just three of us. My younger one came later. And
Hmm.
so I was the middle child for a long time, for many, many years. And I happened to see a television program that talked about how the middle children were always left out. I was like 8 or 9 or something at that time. I go, and I'm watching this. And then I went and looked in my family's house to see, is this real? Because they said, you won't find pictures of you, you won't do this. Oh, all that happened. And I went and I looked and I said, it's true. I'm not wanted.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This just from seeing this TV show where they were talking about this, talk about impressionable kids. I worked through it
Yeah.
though.
Oh, for you,
Yeah.
Roger. I think that, as adults, there sometimes are times of our childhood that we need to reflect on
Mhm.
and heal almost so
Yes.
that we can become more confident in our adult lives.
Mhm.
And we can be surprised sometimes that the reason maybe you're holding back your business or you're not promoting, or
Yes.
sometimes those things are because you don't feel your own value, you don't realize how
Yes.
deserving you are. So that's a really good point. I think when we're young, we're kids, you know what I mean? We
Right.
we process information differently. So I think when we look back, and people are afraid to look back, but when you look back, it's almost
Mhm.
from an adult version of yourself, or you almost have to, as they say sometimes in psychology, reparent yourself, where you kind of
Right.
look at
Oh,
yourself as a
absolutely.
kid.
Yeah. This is why I moved into doing life coaching, because I spent so many years seeing how people were so constricted and not moving through things because of their voice, because of it. But it just led to all of these other things. And I was able to kind of see, wait a minute, you need to keep working on this to move through it. So
Mm,
that was the other thing. The singing led me to an entirely different new career that I didn't know was going to happen.
yeah.
From something that I thought I was terrible at, that I couldn't do anything with, I did that really well. And then it led to something else. So that's why I was so glad that you were doing this, the summit, because more people will understand that. And especially in this day and age where we need to progress, we need to like put something wonderful out in the world. We need more people doing that. So this is going to be so perfect.
Yes, exactly. So people sometimes know that maybe a therapist would be helpful if they
Yeah.
are stuck in certain ways, or they might see a business coach as the answer. But
Mhm.
I feel like now, especially after the last couple of years of being
Oh
so
yeah.
inwardly focused, that we
Mhm.
need more fun in our lives. And that's the great thing about
Absolutely.
singing. Like you can
Yeah.
literally have this transformation, grow in your confidence, deal with childhood trauma, or,
Mhm.
and heal some stuff while also being joyful and having fun.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, more of us are coming to understand that, because they're even, like you said, proving it in science, showing how just the energy, the vibration of singing and the lightness of it and being and joyful. That's what changes us completely. So
I remember hearing from a friend about their kid's daughter. Basically, this is kind of a secondhand story, but I thought it was so revealing. This lady told her child that her adult friend was going to learn how to draw, going to classes to learn how to draw. And the
right.
child said, "When did she forget how to draw?"
Oh, that's great. I love that so much.
Yeah. And we
Wow.
we forget
Okay.
how to sing, we forget how to
Yes.
have fun, we
Yeah,
forget
that's
to
good.
find joy in life. So I think
Yeah.
kids, they can teach us a lot. I just thought that was so wise.
That is perfect. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things we forgot. So
Roger, I'm
okay,
so excited to have you coming
good.
and speaking at our presentation. You've got an amazing reputation as a coach,
Uh,
and you've been around the block. You're
yes,
like
yes, yes.
you're like my mentor, that you've been doing all this for so much longer, and it's been so great to have met you and to feel that mission is, so we have a mission in common. And I think that the summit is,
Absolutely, yeah.
we're bringing together quite a few different kinds of speakers,
Yes.
that are,
Yeah.
some of them are purely singing and song related. Some of them are more like healing related through the
Right.
voice, and, musical, that your chakras and your
Yeah.
musical scale and things like that. So I think it's going to be very interesting. And I'm
Right.
thanking everybody who's listening for
Yes.
having tuning into our conversation. And please, inviting you all to join us for free to come to the
Yeah.
live event. And if you can't come live, then upgrade to the VIP offer and get the gifts and get the recordings, because we would love to see you all there.
Absolutely. Perfect. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roger. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Good luck with your
You as
event
well.
later today,
Thank you.
and we will
Great.
talk soon. God bless you. Bye
Okay.
bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.